Really thrilled with the morning. It was an exciting morning. It's an unusual circumstance when you haven't seen any of these young people in person in quite some time, and actually not able. One of my favorite parts of recruiting are home visits and going into the homes and meeting all of the family and extended family and spending an evening with them. And without that, it's been really unique. But over a period of time now, with as many Zooms and conversations, you really feel like you may know this group of young people and their families virtually at least better than you have any class ever. So it was really a celebratory mood this morning. The class is very balanced, a lot of speed and athleticism, a lot of strength, thrilled with both sides of the football, meet a lot of needs in this class. And yeah, you just, from a character standpoint, from an effort standpoint, and an ability standpoint, we are absolutely thrilled. So I'll take your questions if you're ready to start asking.
All right, let's start with Aaron Beard.
Hey, David, you just mentioned speed and athleticism and addressing a lot of needs. I guess I'm curious what the biggest need you wanted to address with this class was.
Well, certainly if you look in the secondary and the number of people that we're replacing over the last couple of years, that certainly has been a big point of emphasis. We've got a couple of guys pinpointed as running backs that, we have gotten thin there. And then with Dion leaving, certainly a need. But really more balanced than anything else. But when you look at DB, linebacker, receiver, running back, those were certainly areas where we felt like we needed to make an impact, and I think we've done that. You never go wrong recruiting speed, and man, is this got a bunch of fast people in this class. I should say defensive linemen also, and that's an area we just lost a lot of people, and we've certainly done well there. We've helped ourselves in a big way there.
Let's go to Jim Sumner.
Hey, David. The transfer portal seems unusually active this year. Are you saving some scholarships for February, either for incoming freshmen or grad student transfers to fill some of these needs?
Yeah, this is the first signing period, and we always, leave ourselves a little bump room for whatever the circumstances are. And, we're not a team that's just going to be jumping and actively diving into the portal necessarily, but we'll look always at places where we think we could use immediate help.
Let me ask you about the state of Georgia. You always seem to bring in not just 3 or 4 players from Georgia, but 3 or 4 good players from Georgia. What makes Duke and Georgia so mutually attractive?
Well, obviously, it's a geographically fairly friendly, for one thing. One of the things, we put a lot of people down there recruiting, is because they have great spring practice evaluation. We didn't get that this year, but some of the product is that we've seen them earlier. And so you get to see them play football in person in the spring. The competitiveness, the quality of football in the state's outstanding. And so you get really good, clear, concise evaluations in that regard. And then there are a lot of Duke people that live in the area, particularly when you get in the Atlanta metro area. So it's a great opportunity for those young people. And a lot of people that fit us academically are there and available.
All right, let's go to Steve Wiseman.
Hey David, over the last couple of days, you had a lot of guys that were committed for a long time, and I know the season didn't go like you wanted it to. And then also Coach Hampton leaving, saying he's going to go back to Tulane to be defensive coordinator. He had recruited some of these guys. So what was that like as far as trying to, shore these guys up? Because you ended up getting everybody you had committed here. over the last couple days?
Sure, and I appreciate that question. I think it's a tribute to the character of those young men and choosing for the right reasons. I've never been one that's tried to do sales jobs on people. I want them to think clearly. I want them to choose us for the right reasons. I want them to know exactly who we are, what our standards are. And when you do that, they buy in for all of the right reasons. And when Chris informed me that he had been offered the coordinator's job and was headed back, the first thing that we did was call the three young men that he was most closely involved with recruiting to tell them the truth. I think it's really, I've never liked the fact that when you see coaches announce the day after signing date they're leaving to go somewhere else. I don't like the way that is. So up front, we called them, put all that out there, answered their questions. We do a great job as a staff of building relationships, not just one coach. And certainly I have been in their homes multiple times via Zoom Airlines, if you will. But yeah, I think those relationships are genuine and they're important. And I'm very appreciative of all those young men and their families and the character they displayed throughout all of this.
All right, let's go to Brian McLaughlin.
Hey, Coach, I want to ask about your quarterbacks, the two quarterbacks you brought in. Jordan Moore has been noted for his versatility and explosiveness. So with him, I wanted to ask, was he strictly recruited as a quarterback, or has there been thoughts or conversations with him of having the athlete tag? And then second, with Riley Leonard, what jumps out to you about him?
All right. Well, Jordan is a quarterback. There's no question about it. That's what he was recruited as. We obviously talked to him about his athleticism. And, you know, when you watch football today, the athletes that are at quarterback, that are extending plays, that are throwing well on the run, all of those things give Jordan a really an edge as a quarterback that can go and beat people. So he certainly, that's where he is starting, and I'm sure in his heart of hearts that's where he thinks he will land and stay, and he's going to be given every opportunity to do that. Riley Leonard is extremely athletic also, a great basketball player, one of the best I've seen as a dual sport athlete. Also can run, extend plays, throws really well on the run. He's a big, strong guy. He's got the pocket ability too. The character of both of those young men, the intelligence of both of those young men is outstanding. And so they're going to be great leaders and great contributors to our program. There's no doubt in my mind.
All right, let's go to Steve Clark. Sorry, Steve.
Not a problem. Thanks, Art. Appreciate it. Hey, David, I wanted to ask you about your you mentioned in your opening remarks that you met a lot of needs, and I know that you signed a total of 4 defensive linemen if you count the Notre Dame transfer. So I was hoping to find out how you feel about how you met your needs on the defensive line, especially given all the production that you're losing from there with graduation.
Yeah, certainly. We lost 4 guys and a lot of production. We're well aware of that. We've got a good set, a nucleus of people here that have played some and played well when they asked to play, and some developmental people. I think we're going to be really good. We met yesterday as a staff and talked extensively about every position. Coach Albert's excited about the skill level on the edge. He's excited about our skill level inside. We have some people versatile enough to play both. So we think our depth is going to be good. We really do. Jamion coming in is a little older. He's got to still, though, learn a system and get back in the swing of things. But I think we've put together a really, really good group. We'll have 14, 15 defensive linemen, which is our normal number, and I think we'll find some production out of those guys.
All right, let's go to Chris Heidel.
Hey, Coach
Cutcliffe, I have a question for you. You recruited for a kid out of my area in Baltimore named Jordan Moore out of Loyal Bakersfield, high school. What does he got to bring next year to impact to help the team?
Well, he's a great leader. It just comes from a tremendous family, great person, a really spirited competitor. And the thing that Jordan has got to do is be true to himself. He's a quarterback that can extend plays. He's smart. He's a good decision maker. He's a guy that can create running. But he also, one of the things that you see more and more is that I've noticed watching film this year, the number of third down conversions and scores that come off quarterbacks extending plays and making plays. And it's an inordinate amount. And he brings that kind of talent with him to Duke.
And also, you brought a kid transfer from Notre Dame who's from North Carroll over the Eastern Shore. How did that all come about?
Well, when young people get in the portal, they then have the opportunity to talk with people that at places they're interested in. And Coach Albert had recruited him in high school. They started conversations, and through those conversations, we both felt like it was a great place for Jamion, and he did as well. So I think it'll be a great fit for him and a great opportunity for him to further his collegiate career.
Thanks, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Let's go back to Jim Sumner.
David, you mentioned how COVID-19 made it difficult in terms of not being able to see people up close and personal, but you also had the uncertainty as to whether seniors would be coming back and taking advantage of that extra year. How did that complicate things, and are there any seniors on this year's team who are going to take advantage of that extra year?
Yeah, I still think that's an ongoing process, so really can't address who and how many. Those numbers really don't affect your 85 if a guy stays for the extra year at his institution. Then that number can extend above the 85. How many and who, again, I'm not sure yet, but we did not let that affect how we were going about recruiting for the future, which is the lifeblood of the program. But certainly we have some great young people that have been here that if that's something they're interested in doing, we're certainly going to sit down and look at that and talk about that.
So if a recruit, if a high school player is looking at the depth chart and he says, is so-and-so going to be back, what do you tell him?
Well, we'll tell them we don't know if we don't know. If we do know, we'll tell them the answer to that. But in reality, a one-year guy isn't going to affect the outcome of a high school player's decision. They're going to look at a depth chart top to bottom. So it's really not as big an issue as you might think.
All right, let's go to Charlie Mickens.
Good afternoon, David. You have two players coming in from Durham, Trey Freeman and Aaron Hall. What is it that you like about those players?
Almost everything, to be honest with you. Who they are, their families, their coaches, the programs. Both versatile players that played really both ways for their team, were impact players. Trey at Northern, Aaron at Southern, high character young men. We just couldn't be more thrilled. And always we start inside out recruiting, which means Durham first. So as I said, we could not be more thrilled. But Trey is going to be a linebacker for us, and Aaron a defensive end, and it's going to be fun to watch both of those really athletic guys. Really can do a lot of things, and it's going to be fun to watch them grow and mature as players here at Duke.
Thank you.
So let's go back to Aaron Beard.
David, I did want to ask you something since we've got you now about Chase Bryce. I'm kind of curious, did you expect that may play out the way it did? When did you find out that what that conversation was like, and kind of what your thoughts were about the situation he had coming in with, a transition amid all the difficulties and trying to play through that.
Well, I'm just really appreciative of Chase and his contributions and his great work ethic and attitude and spirit. We had planned to meet after the season, and so I think that was a big part of what was expected from the very beginning, and so wish him well.
All right, let's go back to Steve Clark.
Thanks, Art. Hey, David, I want to ask you about your offensive line. You've got the two high schoolers that signed with you, and I think you also have the graduate transfer from Abilene Christian coming in on the O-line. So what's your thoughts overall on the offensive line room going into spring ball and spring practice, and especially with the veterans that you have coming back?
Yeah, I think we've got some tested people coming back, some great young people. Greg Fry will get the benefit of a spring practice, knock on wood, but just getting time to develop this group. Love the group, love their spirit, and I think we're really excited about what's going to happen in the future here with not only this group, but for a few years to come. Pretty stout group.
If you don't mind me following up, with Pickett and with Andrew Jones, do you guys see them at specific spots on the O-line, or do you think you're going to try them at a wide variety of positions?
Well, I think they're very capable. Andrew is so athletic and gifted. He can run, he can move, he can play center guard or tackle because he is long. So we'll wait and see with that. Justin's got a real good chance of being a tackle at 6'7", 315 pounds. He's a big, athletic guy, a high-energy player, which you love about Justin. So those two are really perfect fits for what we needed to start with in the offensive line.
All right, let's go back to Steve Wiseman.
Hey, David, as we get ready to go into the spring semester here, what are your plans as far as what kind of off-season work you can do? Because, the pandemic's still here and the vaccine's coming, but it's not here yet. So kind of what are you looking forward here to do?
Yeah, I think the thing that I told the staff already and I told the team, our focus is going to be on our development, our conditioning, our strength, both emotionally and physically, strength, the level of consistency that we put in our work. We're not going to be traveling, so our coaches are going to be able to be involved. The old days of morning runs and then getting lifts in. And I think it's something that all of us, players and coaches, are looking forward to. I'm not as interested, Steve, in X's and O's right now as I am building the chemistry of our team, putting this team together where, we started here with discipline and conditioning. Well, that's not a bad place to be. And so I'm looking forward to the consistency of the work ethic and bringing this team to a point to where it's at a place where it's as good as it can possibly be, both mentally and physically.